Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, it's breezy down here in the air conditioning. It's my great pleasure to introduce Kristen and Tim to be with us here this evening. Tim is going to start by saying a few words, and then I'll take care of the housekeeping. Tim, so wonderful to have you here.
Well, you may notice that Robert and myself have something in common. We have Cambridge in common. We have a college in Cambridge in common, Gonville and Caius College. I was there quite considerable time before Robert, however, so that's why he looks so young and I look so old. But anyway, I'm going to start this evening. Thank you, first of all, for having us here. It's a great privilege for us to be in this fantastic church and on this fantastic organ in this fantastic space. I'm going to start this evening with two pieces for the organ. One is the Prelude and Fugue in E minor by Nicolaus Bruhns. Bruhns was one of those organists who preceded Bach. Bach didn't just come out of nothing. He came out of a school of organ composers, including Buxtehude and many other. And Bruhns was one of these characters, and apparently was quite an interesting personality. You will hear in this piece one section where it sounds very, and there's lots of fast arpeggios. The story is that Nicolaus Bruhns would sit at the organ bench with his violin and play the violin while his feet played the pedals. And so I think you can hear that in this piece, and there's documentation of that. And then I'm going to follow that with a modern 20th century piece by Alain, the French composer, who was killed at the beginning of World War II, but whose name was kept alive by his sister, Marie Claire, and she died not too long ago. And this is variations on a piece by a late medieval or early Renaissance, depending on your historical point of view, composer called Clement Jannequin, and it's variations on the theme of Jannequin, and it's looking at a medieval piece, but through 20th century spectacles. So I hope you enjoy both those pieces. I'm going to go up. I'm going to be doing a little bit of running up and down this evening, so there will be a couple of spaces, but I'm going to let Robert fill in the time.
Thank you, Tim. It's great to have you here, and we're looking forward to Bruhns and Alain. A little bit of housekeeping in this beautiful old space built in the 1870s. If you need the restroom, there's a little bit of a walk. Head through this door here, just push it open, turn left, and the restrooms are in the lobby area there. If you have a cell phone, please switch it completely off so it doesn't ad-lib different music to what we're expecting to hear this evening. Please know that there are other events coming up here, notably on October the 26th at 7 o'clock. We will have the big screen in the front, and I will be making up a soundtrack on the spot to the old black and white movie Nosferatu, subtitled A Symphony of Horror. So I will do my best to bring a symphony of horror to life from the organ bench, improvising. Looks like Tim's getting close to being ready. I am going to switch this off and head on up there as he gets ready with some Bruhns for us. So as he mentioned, he will be coming up and down to the piano to accompany Christine, and have a great evening. Thanks for coming.
one of the great things about working in a 19th century church as opposed to a medieval church is that they were very considerate about their organists. And this church has a nice carpeted wide staircase instead of one of those really narrow spiral staircases, which I'm sure Robert remembers from various places he's been to as well. But so I don't have to be too out of breath when I come down. I'm now very happy to introduce Christine Westhoff. Christine is a singer of renown. She has a wide online following as well as a very varied concert career. And we've performed all over Europe and all over the States, and so we're very happy to be here. Can I do the commercial now? All of Christine's songs that you're going to hear tonight, all of Christine's pieces in the concert tonight are all recorded, and you can find them all on streaming platforms, including the last one, which we're going to sing tonight, the Benjamin Britten, about which I'll say more later. But that is going to be released to the world next Friday. So a week's time, you can download that one as well. Anyway, Christine is a wonderful singer. She's also my wife, which I'm very, very proud of. That you see me slightly bursting out of my suit with pride about that. Anyway, we're going to sing three pieces now. The first one, actually, we're going to do the Vivaldi first, from the Gloria by Vivaldi. Which was written for a girls' choir, actually, in a school, in a hospital or an orphanage in Venice. And Vivaldi made girls sing tenor and bass, too. So very, very vocally athletic girls in that school. And so this is from the Gloria, one of the most well-known and loved choral works that's been written. And this is the Domine Deus from that. And then we're going to follow that with Laudate Dominum from Mozart's Vesperae Solennes de Confessore, a very, very popular piece. We don't have a choir tonight, so we're going to slightly abbreviate. If you know the piece, you may notice a slight abbreviation in the choral section, but it makes perfect sense, and you will hear that. So, and then we're going to follow this wonderful piece by Gounod, Charles Gounod, the French composer, mainly well known for opera as well as all sorts of other things. But this wonderful, almost an operatic aria, O Divine Redeemer, is very popular, very well loved, and a very passionate piece. And so, without further ado, we'll let Christine take it away. Of course, what I really should do is introduce myself as Christine Westhoff's husband. Thank you, that was absolutely wonderful. I'm going to play two pieces now, both from the 19th century and both written in England, and both very different, both quite different. One is, sounds like almost a little bit like a Mozart concerto. It was written by an English organ teacher called Charles Rinck, and Charles Rinck produced a very large book of organ studies, an organ method of how to learn the organ. And in it are some really quite remarkable pieces. There's a fantastic set of variations on God Save the King, which I now have to get used to calling it. Having all my life called it God Save the Queen, I have to remember it's the King now. And of course, it's different words here as well. So anyway, this is an absolutely charming concerto. I'm going to play the first movement. It's entitled Concerto for Flute Stop. And this organ has, as many of you know, has some gorgeous sounds on it. So I'm going to make use of one of the flute stops on this. And you'll hear the little orchestra bits that contrast with it. And then I'm going to play a piece called The Holsworthy Church Bells by Samuel Sebastian Wesley. Very, very important figure in the development of English cathedral music in particular. Without S.S. Wesley and a couple of other people, we wouldn't have the cathedral choirs in that tradition we have now, because Wesley resurrected some really, really awful situations. Anyway, this piece was written, he was asked to write a tune for the bells of a church in Devon, which is in the southwest corner of England, a village called Holsworthy. And I've been to Holsworthy and I've heard the chimes which still ring. And Wesley wrote this tune. It has been used in the past. I think they used it in the church for It Came Upon the Midnight Clear at one point. But anyway, it's an absolutely beautiful little melody that he wrote that you hear. And then, rather like Jehan Alain did with his piece, he does a series of variations on it. And it's absolutely charming music. And then I'll be back down. So we're going to change tack a little bit here and give you two songs from the Great American Songbook. Both of which are very well known, very popular. One, Summertime by George Gershwin, which I tell you, when you live in Little Rock, you really feel it. But Summertime by George Gershwin needs a little introduction, and neither really does Can't Help Loving That Man from Show Boat by Jerome Kern. Both master songwriters, both wonderful songs, and they speak for themselves. The third song we're going to do in this set is a piece by Benjamin Britten. Benjamin Britten is known for his operas, for his church music, for his orchestral music, one of England's greatest composers, if not probably the greatest of the 20th century, in my opinion. Absolutely wonderful music, but he also had a slightly mischievous side. He was great friends with the poet W.H. Auden, and Auden wrote this poem called Tell Me the Truth About Love. And I think two other poems of Auden's are set in a collection which Benjamin Britten called Three Cabaret Songs. And Tell Me the Truth About Love is the first one of that set. And if you don't know the text is, I think it's a little different from what you have in your program, but you will find it quite amusing. If you haven't thought about love in some of these ways, you will perhaps go home and think about love in a different way when you've heard this. Anyway, it's a wonderful, wonderful song, and hope you enjoy it. So you can see that Benjamin Britten, as well as W.H. Auden, had a quite wicked sense of humor in many ways. We're going to finish our program tonight with an organ piece dating from the end of the 19th century, and an English composer who's not very well known, actually not very well known even among organists. Henry Smart was one of those Victorian, I guess, recitalists and organ recitalists and virtuoso of his day. He was organist at some big London churches, but didn't get into the cathedral scene at all. He's written a lot of music, and some of it's really rather good. And there's a great tradition. Those of you who know the Pomp and Circumstance March by Elgar, which is beloved in this country for graduations in particular, will know that that comes from a long English tradition of marches, where there is an orchestral or a grand introduction followed by a big tune, and then it carries on and repeats and gets bigger and bigger as it goes on. And this very much belongs in that tradition of the English march. It's called the Grand Ceremonial March in E flat. It's I hope you enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to play. And my parents told me it's a lot of fun to listen to, and I'm hoping that's just not them being polite because they're my mum and dad. So I hope you really enjoyed the Henry Smart. And once again, thank you for having us here this evening. It's been a great pleasure and a privilege for us to be here. We've really enjoyed ourselves getting to know this building. It's my first time in Evansville. Maybe not your first time, my first time in Evansville, but there's clearly a lot to see here, so we will be back. And now we know the name of the river, we'll perhaps sail it from the Arkansas River, come up the Mississippi, and do a trip that way. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy the Henry Smart Concert March in E flat.